Hi, welcome to Littleton Common. I'm Barbara McRae.
And I'm Mark Crory.
And well, Mark.
Yes.
This is our second show together.
We made it.
How do you feel?
I feel good. You know, we got tons of mail and emails saying how great the first show was.
Were you writing all of them?
Yes, they all came from me and my kids.
Yeah, oh, okay.
So that's why I said
just
tons.
tell me one thing, you're not going to expect a raise, are you?
No, I'll take the same salary I took for the last show. That's right. What's going on this month? Happy October.
Yeah, and this is Libra. For October, it's Libra, and that's the scales. And do you know the opal is the stone for October? That was my mother's stone, and I have a beautiful ring that she had. And they say that if you aren't a Libra, you're not supposed to wear an opal, but I don't care.
Interesting. I had not heard that before.
Yeah. But that's okay. We can wear it if we want to.
Yes. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And do you know what your stone is?
Aquamarine.
Right.
I'm an Aries.
Yeah. Mine is the topaz.
Very nice.
Scorpio.
Oh, yes. Well, that's very fitting.
Right. Okay. What I want to tell you what I think is that New England is really a beautiful place to live. And this time of year especially because, you know, we're really postcard beautiful. And Al and I, just a week or so ago, had a hot air balloon go over.
Oh, wow.
And I love them, and I hope there's more, but we haven't seen them in a couple of years. But they're back, I hope.
That's great. I mean, imagine doing that this time of year with the foliage and everything in a hot air balloon. Man, that might be on my bucket list. Yeah.
On our bucket list, we had to close the pool and put the outdoor furniture away. But I'm looking forward to some unfinished projects I have. Maybe this winter I'll get to them, or I'll add a few more. I know me, I'll add a few more.
Yes.
You know, what I forget about Littleton is that we have more than one lake. And right near us, off of Newtown Road, there is a Finnish club that has breakfast once a month for the public.
Kaliva.
Yeah, Kaliva. And it is wonderful because it's in walking distance from our house. So on that Sunday morning, we always walk down there and have a huge breakfast and meet with friends. And I'm afraid a lot of people don't know about that.
No.
So the public is allowed, and, you know, they ought to bring the family or come alone, whatever you have.
It's a great idea. Where I live in New Hampshire is a very large Finnish population.
Yeah.
It's, you know, big families. They're very much about family. So I'm sure that these breakfasts must be great. And, you know, they invite the families to.
Yeah, it's very inexpensive and it's very delicious. They have a lot to order. And did you know that their tree is the birch? I believe
Yes, that's right. If you look at, you know, we talk about this area with our foliage and stuff, but if you look at pictures of Sweden and Finland, tons of birch trees. It's just loaded with birch trees. It's pretty neat.
Yep, I love them.
Yeah. Well, next, I think one thing that you might want to attend is the Fall Town Meeting.
Oh, yeah.
And it's October 25th. It's at 7 p.m. at the middle school in the gymnasium. We're back indoors this year. And of course, LCTV will be there to cover it live. But we invite you to come down, especially if you're a senior. If you need a ride, you can call the COA office. As always, they offer transportation. You call them, let them know you need a ride. If you're new to town and you've never been to town meeting, you know, you want to come and see how our government works. We still have that not the representative town meeting, but it's an open town meeting where everyone gets a vote.
Yeah. Are we one of a few or the only one in Massachusetts?
No, there are many towns that do it still like us, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's something else that, okay, go ahead.
Right. And the other thing, if you're you might be interested if you're a high school student,
Right.
to see how government works. Maybe you're interested in that type of things, but you want to see how the town holds their meetings, and you can come, and who knows, maybe you want to be a selectman someday.
Sure.
But town meeting can also, like I said, be watched live on LCTV, but it's nice to watch it, and it's nice that we offer that, but you can't vote live, by watching on TV. So if you want your voice to be heard, you have to get there and be there in person.
Right.
And I'm sure there'll be some safety protocols in place for people, to spread out a little bit. And we're still working on all those details, but that's October 25th. It's a Monday night, 7 p.m. Right now, it's scheduled to be at the middle school.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we mentioned that we cover that meeting live. We do a bunch of meetings live. I don't know if you realize, on the government channel alone, we have 11 different boards.
We want them to realize.
That's right. We have 11 different boards and committees that we cover monthly on a regular basis. In addition, we do all the varsity football games on Friday nights, both home and away. And we've got a lot of positive feedback on that. And, many people come into the studio who have never been here before, and they come in for the first time, they're like, wow, I never knew this was here.
Right, yeah.
So, I invite people to come down to Town Hall sometime and drop in and take, I love to give tours of our studio. It doesn't look like this, that we're on a virtual set right now, so you won't see this. You'll see the green screen that's behind us. But, it's pretty neat that our small little town has such a neat studio available for people to use, free of charge.
We had a young man here once visiting me with my nieces that is an actor on Mom, the TV show.
Yeah.
And I brought him in to see the studio, and he said, gee, yours is better than ours. So I thought, we're not doing too bad. Yeah. And I do love having people come in because they want to see the set. They used to want to see the desk I was using, and I'd come in and say, that's it.
Yeah.
And they couldn't believe it.
Right.
So I think it's an education.
It is an education, and it's just a great opportunity for the community to get involved, to give back. This is local TV. You can't find the shows that are on our channels anywhere else. It's
right.
But here. So.
Right. And we have good shows.
Yes, we do, including this one, which is chock full of guests this month.
Yeah. It's fun to do. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to be talking about housing with one of the guests.
Good.
And, the planning board and the select board and many others are working on what to do about housing here in Littleton. And today, my guest is going to be Anna Hueston, and she's a member of the planning board. Mm-hmm. And she has a lot of information that she wants to share with us.
Great.
So stay tuned to see Anna. Well, Anna, welcome. Let's talk housing. What does the planning board actually do? Because I have a feeling a lot of people, that you hear planning board, you hear this board, that board, but you don't really know what goes on.
Sure. Well, there are 4 sort of very distinct things that the planning board does, and this slide, for example, talks about those things that we are responsible for, which include developing and reviewing the zoning proposals, as well as the master plan, which was created back in 2017. We also review applications, so whether for a residential community or for a commercial development, as well as for land development and redevelopment of existing properties. So that's the second thing. Then the third one is we hold public hearings, and so those are wonderful opportunities for residents to be able to engage by watching or attending those public hearings, because we are very diligent about going through and making sure that folks are informed about what's going on in town, but that's how we do it. And then finally, if there's some kind of a zoning change that needs to happen, we make recommendations for town meeting, and that's what folks get to work on or get to vote on during the town meeting.
So see, your board is actually doing a lot. for the town?
We do. We do a lot as it relates to residential and commercial, and any type of application we review. If it is something that's related to the town, so for example, the new town library, that really falls more on the select board because it's a public building.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we do approve the final application for the building itself, but when folks talk about all the different things that a town might have, whether it's fire department, police department, the library, those really start with the select board and are within their jurisdiction.
Well, what about a senior center? Where does that go?
So a senior center, because it's a public building, really resides with the select board. And then if a building application were to be put forward, the planning board would then review it to make sure that it meets all of the bylaws.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Because I kind of wondered about that because there's going to be a big push for our senior center,
Yes, yes.
And they'll be looking for funds and whatever. So
Well,
I think it's important to so many people, especially our seniors.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
yeah,
So both boards are heavily involved. Yes.
Oh, good. I want to make sure. But anyway, what about housing and seniors? So many seniors really don't know. Like, I live in town. I want to, be involved in housing, and what do I do? And because actually, I don't think that just because you're in town, you can actually get one of these houses because finances, right? And whatever else, so explain.
Sure. So I would say that the town actually has a good past meeting to be able to reference. And so I have a slide that shows the senior eligibility for subsidized housing. And the slide starts out by talking about the topic that has been discussed before in April of 2019, and there's a link there for folks to be able to actually go to view that again, because we had some experts come into Littleton to describe what seniors would need to be able to do to qualify.
Oh.
So, and I'll talk a little bit about this in a bit, but in general for home ownership, there are going to be certain criteria that need to be met in terms of both income at less than income as well as age restriction and a asset level of $275,000 or less. For renting, there are many resources, and this particular slide will actually identify those resources of different organizations around the state that someone could inquire with as to what their eligibility is, as well as what is even available.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
because there's a lot that question.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And ultimately, I believe that one of the things that we can also do is inform our seniors, and so if there is an opportunity that we can do that at another time, we should try to do that.
I like that because you were saying, they could actually, if they have a computer, can go online and find out these things. But
Yes.
we know a lot that even though the computer's been around a lot, they maybe don't own one, don't know how to use it. Where can they get the information? That's important.
Exactly. And there are handouts that were provided back in 2019 that perhaps we should go ahead and make sure that the COA has those available for any seniors who would be interested.
Oh, I think that's a very good idea.
Okay.
Very good.
And also, as an example, Jones Meadow currently went through the lottery process for a couple of units, and in that link, again, access to the internet, but they could be printed out. All of the application criteria is on there. It's a 16-page application with lots of information and a flyer as well. But folks shouldn't be deterred from taking a look at something like that, just so they can get familiar with the kinds of questions that are asked.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I feel let's take care of them.
Absolutely.
And especially, they're just going to ask maybe even the wrong people what I do. So if they can get the information, hard copy or the
Exactly.
computer,
Yes.
then that's
absolutely.
good.
We
That's
would
good.
like to make sure that folks have the right information so they can make the decisions that are
Good,
best for them.
good. You have a few slides for us today.
I do, thank you. So I would like to talk a little bit about housing in Littleton, and I will also talk a little bit about seniors in this presentation. And I decided to go ahead and do this really as a volunteer, because I felt that there were so many questions about what affordable housing means. So it starts really by talking about the definition of affordable. And I actually consider this after talking with an organization called CHAPA. It's the Citizens Housing and Planning Association. And so they're very helpful in the housing realm in the state of Massachusetts. And so affordability is really when your rent or your mortgage is less than 30% of your household income. That's it. It's pretty much that simple. From the standpoint of whether somebody has a higher income, a lower income, one just needs to have no more than 30% paying out to their mortgage or rent. So that's one key definition. So another important concept to be able to convey information about is called area median income. It's a very useful tool because it allows one to understand what can actually be purchased or rented. So AMI essentially just means that half of the households are below 100% AMI and the other half are above 100% AMI. So here in Littleton in 2021, our AMI is $84,600 for an individual, and the AMI for a family of four is $120,800. So again, half the families would have income less than that and half would have more than that. So the AMI is essentially broken out typically into three categories. Less than 80% AMI is considered lower income households, 80 to 120% is considered middle income households, and greater than 120% is considered higher income households. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit more about the specifics around each of the categories. So for 80% AMI, typically speaking, households that earn in this income category can have a maximum income of $67,700. So let's talk a little bit about the types of folks who earn this. It could be folks we interact with every day, folks that we know, such as our restaurant service workers, our childcare workers, young adults who have recently graduated from college, as well as a senior who is receiving a Social Security income. The amount of home that somebody in this category can actually purchase, given their income, would be a maximum of $202,000 for a 1 or 2 bedroom home. And the maximum apartment that could be rented would be $1,622 a month. So I took a look at what we actually have here in Littleton as to what someone in this particular income range could afford. There were no market rate homes in the last quarter that someone in this category could afford. The lowest amount was $307,000 price tag. And then in terms of rental units, the lowest amount of rent was $1,735, and that had a 2.5-month wait list at the time. So then moving on to the next income category of 80 to 120% AMI, the income range here for households is between $67,000 and $101,000. The folks that we know who might be in this income range would be, as an example, HVAC mechanics, restaurant managers, engineers, financial advisors, and many of our town employees, including our school teachers, police officers, firefighters. And I would like to say that everywhere in my presentation where there's a little superseded number, that's an end note. So everything that I have is documented as to where I got the data.
Okay.
So folks in this particular income category would be able to afford a home between $202,000 and $330,000 for a 1 to 2 bedroom home. They could afford an apartment ranging between $1,622 and $2,467 a month. Now, again, going back to the data for the last quarter, only 2 of the 44 homes that were sold at market rate were less than that fit within that category of price range at less than $330,000. So only 5% of all the homes sold. In terms of apartments, it went from 1 apartment to 2 apartments that would be available for somebody in this particular income category. Then moving on to the final income category of greater than 120%. So this is folks earning more than $101,500, and only a handful of Littleton town personnel earn more than this. It would include folks who are attorneys, doctors, folks in the tech industry, computer industry. Again, they would have no problem affording any of the homes that were on the market as long as it wasn't exceeding 30% of their household income. So then in summary of the 3 different categories, the next slide shows all 3 of the different categories. And you can see there what the household income maximum is, as well as the amount of what they could purchase and also what they could rent for. The very bottom line on that particular chart, Barbara, shows the gap. And so in the less than 80% AMI, we know from some work that was done for the Littleton Housing Trust that there is a wait list of at least 44 individuals or households that are in need of housing that's at less than 80% AMI. We know that right now. There are probably even more, but that's what has been currently identified. In terms of that middle income, there are potentially hundreds, and I'll explain that in a couple of slides. So in moving on, there are various reasons why it's important for all of Littleton residents to understand that housing that is affordable and moderately priced in Littleton is very much needed. The first reason is because of our seniors. And we've talked about this before, how important it is. And in fact, we did create, with your assistance, a wonderful video describing what it is that Littleton seniors want and need. And so I put the link to that particular video so that everyone can watch it again. But in Littleton, we have our seniors who have these beautiful homes where they raise their families, and now they would like something smaller. Yeah. And the issue is that there really aren't homes or even rental units that they can move to because Littleton doesn't have them. They just plainly do not exist. Right. And so that senior sell down that typically can happen isn't possible based off the data that I presented earlier. So the second reason is that our workforce needs to be able to live and work here if they choose to. There was a recent study done that over 7,000 employees come into Littleton to work, but most of them don't live here. Very few people live and work in Littleton. And so, as I understand it from the many folks that I've talked with, there are so many stories about how town personnel used to be able to live here, and slowly they've been unable to continue to do so because of the pricing in the marketplace. The third reason that I would say that's very important is that currently our housing stock is geared toward higher incomes. And recent census information shows that 28% of Littleton residents earn less than the 80% AMI, and that's actually down 2 percentage points from the previous 2 years. I'm going to skip to the third bullet on this particular slide because it then shows the higher income category of folks earning more than $100,000 a year is at 60.3% of all Littleton households, and that's up 2 percentage points. So essentially, I think those households switched from being in we used to have residents who were in the lower income households. Now we have more folks in the higher income households. So I want to talk for a minute about this middle income one because it's the key point around middle income housing. Currently, only 11.4% of Littleton households are in this category, earning between $67,000 and $100,000 a year. So it's that middle group that's really getting squeezed. And what I have found through a different study about what makes a healthy community is if we want to have a community where 20 to 50% of households are in each of those different categories. Right now, we're over in the higher income categories, and we're lower in that middle income category. So we have only 11% of households in that middle income category. And if we were to increase that to 20%, let's say we were to create more housing that was in that 20%, that was in that middle income category, that would equate to about 329 housing units, just to get us up so that that percentage is a little bit more in line with what creates a good, healthy community.
Yeah, I do want to mention the fact that I can remember years back when we were perfect as far as the percentage. And of course now the town is being built, and so we've gone up so that we need more.
Yes.
Yeah, so it does, I'm sure years from now, we'll, not you and I, but someone will be talking about it again, saying our percentage is too low. Well, depending how much land we have left, I think. But I was just imagining how I had heard, oh, we're right there, we're perfect.
Yeah.
And then now we're not.
Correct.
Yeah, it just grows.
Correct. And so as a town, the final reason, if you will, on the next slide shows that we have, as a town, grown every decade since 1980 about 1,000 residents every 10 years. You can just kind of count on it. So between 2017, when we finished up the master plan, in 2030, we expect to get another 1,000 residents. So where should they go? And that's one of the reasons why I think my having been on the master plan committee and now on the planning board, I can see those connections, and I can say, well, we have in the master plan identified where we want future development to go. We want it to go at the point, within the common area, by the train station, in old commercial areas. So we have defined it. And I know that in town we love our green space. I love all of our green space that we have. And in order to maintain that, we need to be diligent about making sure that development is put where we said we want it. Littleton residents have already spoken through the master plan.
We're counting on you?
Yes. We know where we want it, and that's where it should be. Yes. This is an example of where the senior residential development bylaw was put into place so that it could work for us, for our seniors. This is a development that's going to be going in across from the Littleton Cafe. It will have 24 units.
Oh, yeah.
And in this particular development, because it came in after the Second Amendment to the senior residential bylaw, we were requiring of the developer between 25 and 50% of affordable units. We came in at 40% after negotiation, and what we're getting out of that is that we are getting 2 units, less than 80% AMI. Those are 1-bedroom units. And between 80 and 120% AMI, we are getting 6 units. 3 of those are 1-bedroom, and 3 of those are 2-bedroom units. Oh. And then for greater than 120% AMI, there are 2 units as well. So we get 10 out of the 24 units that will be affordable. So that's how we made that senior residential development bylaw work for us.
But I'm sure there's people interested and not knowing all the ins and outs. So
yes.
I felt it was important for anyone who questions what's happening.
Yes.
They should know. They actually should know
Yes.
what's going on.
Absolutely.
So that helps a lot.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And I think for today, if I have anything to say about, in summary, is really that folks need to be able to take a look at what it is that Littleton residents really want and need, and understand what affordability means, and then also to stay apprised of the information. I know we're all so busy with our lives, with children, with activities, with work, and other volunteer activities, but we have lots of options for folks to be able to stay apprised, whether it's going to the website and looking for the information on the planning board site, or watching LCTV live, or watching LCTV in recorded format, even if it's at 11 p.m. at night because you can't sleep. You know,
Right.
there's always something available to be able
Right.
to be watched.
Right.
And then finally, to engage. I recall when I ran for the planning board, I said, I really want to hear from residents. I want to be able to get input in terms of what you like, what you don't like, what's important to you.
It's hard because they'll tell their friends and they'll tell strangers, but to get a hold of someone who knows, it just seems hard to people.
I can understand that. I can. And being able to send an email to us and the planning board, we see those emails, and we're also residents, so we're out and about, and anybody who would like to contact me, I'm more than happy to talk with them.
Good. We'll let them know where to contact you. You're part of it now. That was really interesting. I
Thank
actually
you.
paid attention. But I'll probably want to watch it again.
Okay,
From beginning to end.
absolutely, and I'm more than happy to chat if there are any groups that want me to come out and do
Good.
a smaller group setting meeting to talk through it. I'm more than happy to do that as well.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you,
for
Barbara.
being here and giving us all this information. I hope that everyone out there uses it, listened, and contacts the planning board so that you can get it from the right people. How's that?
That's right. Appreciate it. Thank you
Good.
so much.
We'll be seeing you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
That's very helpful, and I'm looking forward to the future of
Yeah.
housing in Littleton,
There's
because
a
it's
lot.
really needed. People want to stay.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
And this will be interesting for people who are thinking about moving. So we'll see.
Great. We're going to meet with Aleesha Benjamin. Aleesha is the Director of Finance and Budget and the Town Accountant.
Oh,
All right, Aleesha Benjamin, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So for the folks at home who don't know you, because you are new to town, what do you do?
I'm the Director of Finance and Budget and CFO here and Town Accountant. What I do is I do the accounting, I oversee the audit, I oversee Treasury, I oversee the assessors. I work with the Finance Committee and the Select Board on financial matters. Right now I'm closing the books for year end, getting the financial statements ready. Lots of fun things.
Right.
Mostly finance, controlling and making sure that the residents' money is safe and being used lawfully as well.
Sure.
Within finance law.
Oh, that's important.
Very important.
So you are the director, and who do you have that's works with you or reports to you?
The treasurer collector and the assessor report directly to me.
Okay, great. Now, have you always been good with numbers? Is that something that you've gravitated to, or is that something that you just kind of had to learn on the fly?
No, I've been good with numbers. I actually majored in business at Salem State College, where I got my bachelor's in science, and then I got a master's degree also from Salem State with a concentration in finance, so
Oh,
I like numbers.
so you're Massachusetts native?
Yes,
Okay,
born and raised in Massachusetts.
yeah.
Love it here. 2 kids one in college, one that graduated college from here in Massachusetts and now is in Pennsylvania. One's in UMass Lowell right around the corner, so
Oh, very
happy
good.
mom.
Very good. Now, I know that you went to Salem State, and you lived in the South Shore, right?
North Shore. I live in
I
Gloucester.
mean the North Shore, sorry. In Gloucester?
Yes.
Oh,
So I
that's,
started my municipal career in Gloucester as the general ledger accountant. Then I was promoted to the assistant city auditor. I then went on to the city of Medford to be their CFO, and then I left the city of Medford to come here to the town of Littleton to be the director of finance and budget.
so that must be a big difference going from Medford, which probably had twice the budget, right, as
Right.
us, to a small town. How have you liked your experience so far with Littleton?
I love the transition. It's actually challenging, believe it or not. Redesigning the chart of accounts is a big job. The sewer expansion that's on the horizon is another big job. So there's a lot to do, and I see Littleton growing, and I'm excited. I think the community is extremely kind and nice. The people here are extraordinary. And that's what really drew me to Littleton, was the residents and the people. When I first came here for my second interview, my first interview was via Zoom, I actually went to eat across the street at the Littleton Cafe and met Andrea
Oh, yeah.
and the residents, and they were talking to me, and they were so kind to me. I couldn't believe how unbelievably nice the people are that are here. So I feel very, very fortunate to be in such a caring community and to work with such sweet, nice people.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're glad to have you here too. Tell us a little bit about, outside of work, when you're not crunching numbers. There's got to be something you like to do to kind of unwind and get your mind off figures.
There's two things I like. So I like to read Stephen King books.
Oh.
But because I don't have time, because I'm usually working a lot, I now do audiobooks, so I get to listen to it on my commute, which is nice. And the other thing I like to do is spend time with family. So my mom and dad are both retired, so I'm fortunate enough that I can visit them, and my sister and my brother were very, very close-knit family, so that's what I like to do in my off time, see my nephews, just have food together on the weekends and spend family time.
And what are you currently listening to on your Stephen King journey?
The Institute. I just started the Institute. So.
Okay. They filmed some of the Castle Rock series here in Littleton, which is based on a Stephen King, Castle Rock is his fictional Maine town that a lot of his stories center around. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I did, and I love it. And I know that he writes particularly in New England.
Right.
So it's exciting.
Well, that really surprises me. It's good to learn some things about people that you didn't know. I would not have pegged you for a Stephen King fan. So Halloween's coming up. Is that one of your...
Halloween is my favorite holiday, along with Christmas, yes. I'm an October baby, so...
Excellent.
I like scary and all of that stuff, yeah.
Do you like to be scared? Because we can arrange something around that.
No, but I like to give out the candy to the kids.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Well, again, you had said at a staff meeting that I was at that you have an open door policy, and I assume that you would extend that to residents who have questions or concerns?
Absolutely, yes. I think it's great to have residents interact and want to understand the finances and how they work, and I absolutely have an open door policy for that.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you again for being here. Open up a little bit, let us see what you do and a little bit about yourself, some things that we did definitely not know before you sat down. And I just wish all the best of success here in Littleton, hopefully a long career. I hope I will be here for a long time too, so I'm sure we'll be working together for many years, hopefully.
Absolutely, thank you, Mark. Yes, I'm looking to move closer this way, so.
Excellent, excellent. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.
Wasn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Get to know our employees a
I
little
think
bit.
that's fun. I hope you're going to do that every month.
We are going to do that every month. We're going to feature an employee. Sometimes they'll be new faces that people haven't seen before. Other times they may be people that we have seen before, but what do they do? Sometimes we see a face and it's good to put a title to a face.
It is, and also sometimes, the town is growing and we're getting new people all the time, so they probably wonder, who do I speak to about this or that? And this will kind of help them. They have to watch the show.
They will have to watch the show, exactly. So that's what we're hoping to do.
We enjoy our pets, and if you have a pet, here's Dawn with what we need to know about caring for them.
So today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about grain-free diets. This is probably the biggest trend in pet nutrition that we've seen in a very long time. Grain-free diets, I think they came about because as a veterinarian, when I have dog with allergies, I may recommend a food trial that eliminates things like proteins, including wheat gluten, which can be a big allergen in dogs just like it can in people. And over years, people have been looking for gluten-free diets in the marketplace. Well, unfortunately, one of the best kept secrets right now is that grain-free diets are at risk of causing your pet to be sick. In 2018, the FDA started investigating cases of dogs that developed heart failure that were eating grain-free diets. And the correlation between those two things was pretty strong. There are certain breeds of animals that have a congenital predisposition to develop heart disease. We were seeing heart disease in dogs that normally don't develop heart disease, and often at very young ages. And so the FDA, working with cardiologists, discovered this connection, and have since that time have been really seriously investigating that. The concerning part is that we don't know exactly why this is happening. It doesn't happen in every dog that eats those foods, but when it does happen, it can be devastating to a client because it means your dog won't live the normal life that they probably would have otherwise. So what exactly do we think the problem is? Instead of using grain, routinely, like wheat gluten is a grain, comes from a grain, but it's a protein source. So in order to find other ways to give your pets protein, many food manufacturers are introducing legumes and beans. And that correlation has been strongly associated through the FDA. So foods, if it says on the label that that food contains lentils, chickpeas, beans of any kind, or even green peas, we are immensely suspicious about that diet, especially if those ingredients are in the top 10 in the ingredient list on the label. Potatoes actually are on that list. However, not all potato diets are problematic for pets. So I will share on the website the link to the FDA conversation about this problem. And in there, you'll see those ingredients. You'll see the list of breeds that have been affected. And more importantly, you'll also see a list of diets that have been implicated. Certain diets are more reported than others. And you can see if your pet food is on that list. However, there are very hard to find non-grain-free diets on the marketplace these days, but I suggest if you're using a grain-free diet and you're not sure it's safe, go to the marketplace and look for something in that brand or a similar brand that does not say grain-free on the label, okay? If your pet has a food allergy and you've moved to a grain-free diet and you believe it is helping your pet, I strongly recommend that you talk to your veterinarian. Veterinarians have access to pet foods that are specifically designed to control food allergies, that avoid those grains or the gluten and provide a safe resource. Now, a lot of those are going to use potato, but keep in mind, these diets are made under the supervision of a board-certified veterinary nutritionist. They are proven to work for your dog's allergies, but they are also proven safe before they meet the marketplace. I hope someday soon we're able to figure out why this is happening. Know that there are 3 large nutrition centers in the US that are working with the FDA to try to get this out, including the nutrition team at Tufts University. And as soon as more information becomes available, I'm sure you'll start hearing about it, and it most certainly will end up on that FDA webpage. And again, speak to your veterinarian if you have any concerns about what you're feeding your pet, and know that we're really worried about this problem and want to prevent many illnesses if possible.
Mark, Halloween is coming up.
I know, scary.
Yeah. You know, Park and Rec is planning a trunk and treat. They've done that before because the Friends were part of it once and we got a prize.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it's going to be on October 30th from 3:30 to 5 p.m. So why don't you decorate your trunk a true Halloween theme and watch the goblins stop for treats. And this one is going to be at Fay Park.
Okay, now that's different. See, normally they have the trunk or treat here in the parking lot at Town Hall. So remember, it's at Fay Park this year.
They've also had it at the playground.
And they've had it there too at King Street. Yeah. Okay.
I like Fay Park. I think that'll be fun.
I think it'll be nice.
Yeah, because they can really march around there.
Right.
We enjoyed the cookout with Senator Eldridge and Representative Arciero, and this month, on October 13th, we will be hosted by the Littleton Fire Department and the police.
Great.
And, yeah, but you have to sign up at the EHS office, 978-540-2470 for a reservation. So we'll see you at the fire station at noon on the 13th.
Those guys really know how to grill, those fire guys. You know, they're good at fire for some reason.
Right, and the police won't cart us off.
That's right.
Yeah, we're okay. We're
Have
safe.
as many
that
burgers as you want. You won't get arrested.
Right. Garden Club. They're always interesting. And they've started this season with some great programs. And have you ever heard of aeroponic gardening? Have you ever heard of that? I think it's aeroponic.
You know, you say that. I have, only because I talked to Dave Plogger. and he filled me in.
Oh, yes, because we taped Susie Glines, and she has one of those, and she wanted to describe it, and it's very, very interesting.
Sounds like it.
It's the next generation of urban farming, and the country gardeners will learn how to grow fresh produce year-round, using 1/10 of the water and land required for a traditional garden.
Wow.
And Susie gives us a demonstration on video. And call Sandra Casal, she's the president of Garden Club, for information about the gardeners' programs and how to join. And please do if you're interested in gardening. Her number is 1-978-771-2702.
Well, if any of you watch our show on a regular basis, and I hope you do, the different programs we have, Bill Vales has a lot of series that he does.
Yeah.
You know, Your Backyard and Here and There, or Now and Then, or you know, all sorts of different shows.
Before and after.
Before and after, yeah, all the different things. He also teaches a computer class here. He's very knowledgeable in that. And for October, he's got a whole series lined up. October 7th, they're going to be talking about IT during the pandemic. What's been done over the summer to improve your security and knowledge. On October 14th is social engineering. October 21st is a review of the layout of Windows PC desktop, navigating around the system, and also with a focus on Windows 10. And then on October 28th, I believe, ransomware. And you know, ransomware is one of those things that we all have to be careful of, because hackers are getting so good at tricking people. You know, you get an email that looks like it came from me.
Right.
And I say, hey, watch this funny video, and you click it, and all of a sudden you've got a virus.
Right.
So they're so good at what they do. So you'll want to check that out with Bill Vales, because he'll go through all the warning things and what to do to protect yourself from cyber attacks. So don't forget to call the COA 978-540-2470 to sign up and receive an email with the Zoom link, because these are still being held via Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know how to turn the computer on and turn it off.
Well, that's a
Email,
start.
period.
That's a start.
Yeah.
You need to take Bill's classes.
I know I do.
Yeah.
I'll try to find some time.
And they're free, right?
Right.
That's
and he's
amazing.
very good, and he's very patient.
He is, and to be able to give back to the community like that for free, you know, having people take the classes for free, what a neat thing that is.
Yeah, yeah. Got to do it. You have to do this. Well, craft classes are October 13th, creating wood plank signs for fall. And there will be popsicle sticks, and they're going to be used to make scarecrows, and that'll give you an added design, and some flowers, some pine cones, and more. And, you know, what would you like to write on your plank, and bring the saying to class and use available stencils to print it on your plank?
That's awesome. We got one recently for a gift.
Oh.
Somebody made us one, and they're very beautiful. You know,
How
you
big?
can. It's probably this size, I guess, and this wide. You know.
Oh.
But you can hang it on the wall. You can rest it on a mantelpiece. You can put it on your door, windowsill. You know, there are all sorts of different things. You know, put it on your desk at work. You know, they're so versatile. So that's a neat thing. I might check that out to see, bring
Good.
some stencils in and do some work.
Yeah, I like
And they're
it.
in person, right? They're meeting in person here?
Yes.
The craft class?
They are. They're going to have it in the multi-purpose room.
Great.
Wow, we're coming inside. I'm so glad. But you have to sign up early, because they can only allow 15 people to come.
Okay.
And it's going to be the same number, 540-2470. And that's Wednesday the 13th, and it's from 1 to 3 in the multi-purpose room.
It's good. It's so great to
Inside.
I see activity picking up downstairs and people starting to get out again and come in, and you know, they're safe. They wear their masks like we
Right.
do, but it's just nice to see a face, you know, in
know.
person.
Be human.
That's right.
You last month we held a yard sale because it was for the Friends, their funds. And I had so much fun with it because I kept finding furniture on the curb every place I go.
And the dumpster.
I know. And I have a problem. I pick it up and I take it home. And I try to hide it from Alan, but he usually knows what I'm doing. And then I redo it. And so that's what I did for this particular sale. And things
Wow.
were selling right away. I was so happy. And, I'll show you a couple pieces.
And all the funds that you raise go
To
towards
the
programs.
Friends, for the senior programs.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I like doing that.
That's great.
Well, we're going to celebrate Columbus Day on the 11th, and I think it's still Columbus Day, right? Because they keep changing
Yes,
things.
it could be Indigenous Peoples' Day or something as well.
I don't know. They can make it Barbara Jane Day,
I'll call it that
Mark
if you want.
Day.
Yes, if you want.
whatever.
Yeah.
And but the senior diner is going to be closed. There's no Meals on Wheels, but
Okay.
Halloween is going to be the 31st of October. The same as usual, I believe.
Okay.
But the senior diner is open, every day for lunch. But you do have to call the day before 10 o'clock in the morning to make a reservation. I guess maybe they're only allowing a few people to come.
We'll have to check into that. We'll
Yeah.
get the scoop and report it next show.
Right.
Right.
Hopefully there will be another show. Well, anyway, thanks for joining us today.
Yes.
And until next time, please don't forget our seniors.